That is the sound of a volcanic eruption in action, and you certainly can see plumes of hot lava and rock being thrown up in the air like a fountain. CNN captured this video in a neighborhood in Hawaii that is under mandatory evacuation. And for people living on the east coast of Hawaii's Big Island, it's been a day of anxiety. 6 volcanic fissures opened up in a neighborhood, shooting lava and steam into the air. The power has been cut, and residents say they can smell sulfur dioxide, a toxic gas. The government has declared a state of emergency and ordered nearly 2,000 people to leave. On top of all this, hundreds of earthquakes shook the island this week, including a strong 6.9 tremor, the strongest to hit Hawaii in decades. Visitors to the area are also being brought to safety. More than 2,500 are being taken from the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Yes, it is a visitor's destination, but it is now closed. As our Stephanie Elam reports from Hawaii, that park is home to a volcanic crater at the center of all of this.
Volcanic eruptions spewing molten rock, ash, and toxic gases onto Hawaii's Big Island. The eruption stemming from a series of cracks in Pu'u'o'o's rift zone, miles from the Kilauea volcano. Video from earlier this week shows walls of smoke billowing as the vent on Pu'u'o'o collapses, leaving behind a red, rocky surface similar to that of Mars, with gaping holes giving us a glimpse of the orange liquid magma smoldering below. And this time-lapse, shot last week, shows gushing rivers of lava flowing as night turns to day. Residents are fleeing from their homes as forests burn and roads break open.
You could feel the heat coming from the ground. Yeah, there's heat coming up out of this.
Officials warn that the sulfur dioxide levels are extremely dangerous. More than 700 structures and 1,700 people are within the mandatory evacuation area.
Now we have about 100 people up here at the facility, at the shelters. We just got another wave of them that got evacuated because the volcano ended up erupting more up on the street.
Lava is coming out in Leilani, so this is real.
At the center of the activity lies the community of Leilani Estates. A resident there captured this lava fountain shooting over 100 feet into the air.
Came down the road, all we heard was a boom. What is that? And then all of a sudden we smelled the sulfur dioxide. We knew something was happening. Within minutes, we've seen smoke, and now we see all this lava coming across the street, and it's pumping right now. So this fissure is opening up, and this is our next eruption.
The eruptions are part of a massive geological event set off by the collapse of the Pu'u'o'o crater floor. That collapse led to hundreds of earthquakes this week, which continue to jolt the Big Island.
The tough part about this eruption is that it's unpredictable. We don't know which way the lava is going to flow, and we are planning actively for every contingency that we can think of.
That's Stephanie Elam there on Hawaii for us. The governor of Hawaii is urging all people and planes to stay away from the area.
We've issued an FAA order closing the airspace around the eruption site, so they won't be able to come to look at the eruption. We would encourage visitors to stay away from the Puna area. The rest of the island is open for visitors, and clearly on the west side and Hilo Banyan Drive is still continuing to operate with no impact.
We're joined now on the phone by Michael Hale, one of the many people who've been forced to relocate. Michael, thanks so much for talking with us. We know this is a difficult time for you. Where are you now, and how are you and your family holding up?
We've relocated. We're in Volcano Village now, which is many miles from where our house is, and feel a bit safer. They were not there for most of the quakes, and so I'm watching quakes on USGS and just continually nervous. I've got a little bit of PTSD going on, I think.
Just from the trauma of what you've been experiencing?
Yeah.
So you're in a what's called Volcano Village. That doesn't sound safe, does it? But it doesn't. I certainly hope it is. You know, while you're talking, we're looking at the lava that's just bubbling up from the ground. Did you see this? Did you experience? Did you smell it?
Yeah, we smelt it, heard it. I saw the smoke. I didn't see the glow. It was basically on the street. When we were there, it was on a street and a half away from our backyard. I have the house that we live in and then a rental house on the same block. And it was closer, actually, when I ran over to the other house to tell the guests that, you know, hey, you got to get out. They're in their shorts and such. And I was like, you got to go now. They didn't even know what was going on, but they got out. I texted with them afterwards about an hour later and made sure that they were gone. But yeah, you could hear it. It was like rumbling rocks and explosions and a big cloud when it first was happening.
How long have you lived in Hawaii, and have you ever experienced anything like this?
I've been here 20 years, and in that house 20 years, almost 20 years, 19 or something. No, nothing experienced like. I mean, you've heard stories about, you know, where else it goes, but I don't know. You never think it's going to be right there because it's always been so steadily ever at the other place and flowing so nicely, you know, except for the 4 years ago when it decided to change direction. And that was kind of a surface top flow, so we were able to watch where it was going kind of constantly. It was a different kind of watch, whereas this one's kind of like coming up from under wherever it wants to come.
Yes, that's kind of a creepy feeling, isn't it, the way it's working there, and they don't know which way the lava may go next. So are you prepared to be evacuated for some time?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, luckily I have a lot in Pahoa that doesn't have anything on it. In a worst case scenario, we'll set up some tents there. I know some of my living partners in my house, they help me manage the place. They're staying on that lot now in Pahoa town. They have some vans that they're sleeping in. And I know that right around the corner from there, there's the Pahoa Center where they have some beds and cots for people too. So that's kind of like, depending on how long this goes, you know, I've kind of had my eggs in one basket, you know, taking a risk.
Right.
And 2 houses in the same lava zone, I guess. And it almost paid off.
Oh, my goodness. Well, hope that when you get back, your houses are okay. 2 houses almost paid off. We hear your pain there, Michael, for sure. And we'll be thinking of you, and maybe we'll talk with you again to find out that you're okay when and if you do get to go back home. Thank you for spending time with us, Michael Hale there. Thank you. Good luck to you.
Aloha.
Aloha. How about his story? 2 houses in the area almost paid off.
Incredible stuff. It reminds me of folks that are in the path of a hurricane, too. They don't know if their home is going to be there. For me, it is much easier to track a hurricane. I can see it. I know where it's going.
Right.
For them, it's just impossible here because it's going underground here, so it just depends on where the next crack, the next fissure pops up with
so
lava and
too.
all sorts of nasty stuff. In fact,
that picture is amazing.
Yeah, let's talk about it because folks are still out there, Natalie, taking pictures of, what some are describing as an unprecedented event. Of course, we had the incident, as he mentioned, back in 2014, but that was an above-ground flow. This is underground, and we don't know what's happening. By the way, that steam you see there, that is not what you want to be breathing in. There's sulfur dioxide in there, and that can take hold in just a few minutes, kind of like inhaling ammonia, if that's ever happened to you by accident. Similar conditions, and you just run out of breath, your lungs get irritated, etc. Look at all the activity. This is a swarm of earthquakes. This is from Monday. Upwards of 500 earthquakes have been occurring across the eastern part of the Big Island as a result of the volcano, anywhere from about a 2.5 to 3 magnitude, right? And then we had the big ones as well on Thursday, 5.0, and then a 6.9 Friday. That was the the strongest earthquake they've had since 1975 in Hawaii. Additional quakes, by the way, will continue over the next several days. Back to volcanology school real quick here for you. There's the magma at the Earth's crust. It continues to billow up as pressure builds. We get fissures, cracks. That pressure has to go somewhere, kind of like a pressure cooker, right? And the cracks allow for the venting, but also the rocks begin to break up, and that's what causes the tremors, the 2.530 that folks have been talking about over the last couple of days. That continues as well. And then, of course, we have the big show up with the lava and the toxic fumes, and I think that will continue over the next several days as we talk more about the ongoing effects here. Yeah, earthquakes, additional fissures, toxic fumes, sulfur dioxide, anything else. My goodness. Terrible stuff, which is why they, of course, have evacuated upwards of 1,700 folks to get them out of the way, because they don't know, the USGS, the volcanologists, they don't know where the next fissure is going to pop up.
That just doesn't look good for the island, does it? Ivan, thank you.
10 days. Yeah.
Of course, you know, you'll stay on top of it for us.
All right, more breaking news. More residents on the east side of Hawaii's Big Island are fleeing their homes after the formation of another volcanic vent. There are now 7 open vents spewing dangerous lava in one neighborhood. CNN correspondent Stephanie Elam joins us live with more on this extremely frightening situation there.
Extremely frightening, especially for people who have been living here and not knowing, Fred, exactly where these fissures are going to open up. We spoke to one man, Steve Gebbe, who built his house from the ground up in Leilani Estates. He's a carpenter by trade. He bought his land, built his house, no mortgage. Said it was just 4 doors down when one of these fissures opened, and he stayed as long as he could in his house until he realized that he had to go, and he realized that also he may never go back to his home. Take a listen to what he said.
Life is completely turned upside down, and I think it's just starting to set in. You know, yesterday everybody looked like they were hillbillies. Everybody had everything in their trucks and on the run. Now this is the first morning after evacuation, and now trying to figure out what the future brings.
You're starting to feel it today.
Yes. I kind of said farewell to my house yesterday, but now I'm starting to think about my future, you know, my work, my job, am I going to move? Am I going to have to move to somewhere else on the island? You know, the whole might be forever changed.
Yeah. And that's the question a lot of people have. They said that they don't have any information. They don't know what their houses may look like as of now, but it happened so quickly because they're saying with the lava flow, that moves a lot slower. But with a fissure, it was bubbling out of there. We've shown you that video of it popping up and erupting out of the earth uncontrollably. And because of that, he doesn't know if his house is standing or not, Fred.
Wow, it's incredible. Extraordinary pictures, too. All right, Stephanie Elam, thank you so much for that. We'll check back later.